This video is about the invitation that I gave to God. I had said to my sister, who asked me the question, what would it take for you to believe in God? And I replied to her, God would have to come down, he would have to have a cup of tea with me and some biscuits and answer every question that I have. And if he did that, I would 100% become a Christian, a believer. I would be totally committed. Little did I know that he accepted my invitation. And he accepted it in a way that disrupted and turned my life upside down. So how did this conversion happen? Well, I've got a strange brother who I heard had become very evangelical, very committed to discipleship. And I was doing everything in my power to avoid him. I wanted to see him, but I wanted to see him on my terms. I wanted to avoid that scenario where you're with Christians and they're preaching at you. So I had in my mind a neutral space where at some point we would meet, I would have a catch up and I would say thank you very much and goodbye. And then we would each go on our way with, no issue, just on our different paths. But what actually happened was I heard that my brother was staying with my parents, so I carefully planned to be there when I knew that he would be away. So imagine my surprise when I turn up at my elderly parents' sheltered accommodation, only to hear his voice as I opened the door. My immediate feeling was, oh my God, I'm going to be trapped with somebody who is evangelical, going to preach at me. My mum and dad will be so happy about this and there is no way I can get away. I thought to myself, is there a hotel that I could book? Do they know do they realise I've come in? Maybe I can creep out. But there wasn't, and I thought, do you know what, I'm just gonna have to grin and bear this because I've got no other choice and I want to see my parents. So the first night of being at home with my brother and my parents surprisingly went really well and everything was pleasant, and my brother did tell me that he had really committed himself to the Lord and that he prays at night at about 3 o'clock. He said that that's the time when he feels closest to God. And I thought, well, good for you, but I'm going to bed. I'm tired, I've had a long journey, I'm going to bed. That's very nice for you. So what happened was, first of all, I'm going to say I am an heavy sleeper, I admit to that. And my biggest fear is that I would sleep through a burglary, sleep through a fire, that there is nothing that can wake me up once my head hits that pillow and I'm ready to sleep. And that's what I expected to happen. I thought I'd go to sleep and the next thing I would wake up and it would be the morning. But that's not what occurred. Over the next 4 days, staying at my parents' with my brother, I got very little sleep. So on the first night, I was awoken at 3 o'clock. I sat up in bed, I turned on the lights because I was awoken by the sound of praying in the sheltered accommodation for elderly people. I could hear my brother at the top of his voice praying to the Lord. And I sat in that bed and I thought, how dare you? How dare you make all this commotion in an elderly person's accommodation? How selfish can you be? And you're praying and you're being that selfish as to be praying at the top of your voice. And my instinct was to get up, because he is my younger brother, and to give him a piece of my mind. But I then thought, oh my God, I know they're evangelical, and if I go in there while he's in that kind of spiritual place, you know, yeah, he's going to turn around and he's going to try and, you know, pray for me. And, you know, my whole aim is to be left alone. I'm gone on my path. I'm an atheist. I don't want to know about God. So I thought to myself, my mum will be getting up and she'll sort him out, prayer or no prayer, you know, and 80 or not, she will sort him out tonight. So I kind of pulled the sheets over my head, tried to get back to sleep, thinking that she would sort this issue out. But what actually happened was, in the morning I got up and I said to my brother, that was really out of order of you. You can't be praying at the top of your voice in the middle of the night, waking me up, waking mum and dad up, and the neighbours. What about the neighbours? And he looked at me and in a kind of sarcastic and voice kind of said, you know, what's the matter with you? What are you talking about, you? And, you know, and just laughing at me. And I thought, listen, I'm going to leave it tonight because I don't want to get into an argument. Pleasant day ensued and we didn't raise the issue again. Second night, night number 2. I'm in bed, I'm sleeping. 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm suddenly awoken, but this time it's prayer meeting. There are I can hear several people in the living room of my mum and dad's sheltered accommodation praying and having service. And I just thought, is he for real? Is my brother for real? He has let people into the sheltered accommodation at 3 o'clock at night. And then I thought to myself, hang on, that doesn't quite make sense. Who would be coming to a sheltered accommodation at 3 a.m. in the night? And also he'd have to go downstairs to let them through the security doors. And I thought, no, that's not right, that doesn't make sense. And I checked the time again, yes, 3 a.m, checked that I could hear them. And then I thought, right, what makes sense is Zoom prayer meeting, because these Zoom prayer meetings, I'd heard about them from my sister, where all the Christians get together on their computers and they have their worship online. So I thought that's what it is. It's, you know, it's probably America or Africa, and that's why it's 3 o'clock in the night. But I thought, how rude, oh, I was just so angry. I was so annoyed with him. How disrespectful to my parents. How inconsiderate. So again, I contemplated going out, but I thought, no, I just don't want to be involved. I know I've been here before, where, you know, you go into and you get yourself involved in the spiritual world that they've entered into. And I thought, no, that's not what I want. So the next morning I get up and same thing. I say to Mum, did you hear my brother with all the noise he was making? And she says, oh no, I slept through it. I says, how could you sleep through it? It was so nice. And my brother goes, what's the matter with you Jackie? And I thought, oh, you're just so... And I just really wagged my finger at him and I said, don't you dare do this again. It's not appropriate. Night number 3. This time I wake again at 3 o'clock. I cannot believe it, because I just don't wake up even if there was noise. I'm not the kind of person who wakes up. I can sleep through an earthquake. So there I am, sitting up in bed with the light on, listening to my brother, this time playing the guitar and singing gospel music at the top of his voice. And I'm sitting there and I'm just, oh my goodness, I just cannot believe the audacity that he has to be doing this and then denying it when I ask him. But again, I just thought, I just don't want to be involved. I know if I go out there, he's going to want to pray for me and, oh God. So again, I just think, right, there might be an issue because somebody might report the noise that's coming from my mum and dad's flat. And I'm thinking, you know, if there is a problem now, I'm really going to be angry, because this is not acceptable. This is the kind of thing you do when you want to get an ASBO for noise making. So again, the next morning I get up in the same scenario, but this time they're looking at me as if I'm a bit crazy. So I decided to book myself a hotel. I can't take this anymore. I'm getting irritated, and I was quite quiet that day because it did trouble me throughout the day that nobody, including my parents, were taking this issue of noise making and praying at 3 o'clock at night as inappropriate, and yeah, and they were just ignoring me. So I wanted to book myself into a hotel for the 4th night, and the hotel couldn't offer me anything, so it was the next following day that I was going to be able to stay at the hotel. So I thought one more night, but I thought, right, this time I'm getting up. If he does it one more time, I am up. I'm ready for you. And I don't care. There's nothing you could say that would allow me to make you pray for me or be involved in whatever it is, your spirituality. I am getting up tonight. So went to bed, and I'm just praying that I get a night's sleep. And I was so pleased when I woke up at 5 o'clock, which is still a bit early for me, but it means a full night's sleep. So I wake up at 5, and as I wake up, I see my bedroom door open, and my brother comes in and he plonks himself on the side of the bed next to me. And I thought to myself, this is him deciding that he needs the bed and I need to go and sleep outside on the sofa, which I had offered to do the previous night. I thought he's now tired, doolally, and he wants me to go and lie on the sofa. But at 5 a.m. I thought, do you know what? I only need an hour's more sleep and I can't be bothered to get up. So he's lying next to me and I'm hanging off the side of the bed thinking I'm just going to take just another half hour and then I'll get up. And of course I fall asleep for about 2 hours. But as I'm sleeping, as I'm falling asleep, I thought I'll just check, because there's been so much weirdness going on. I'm just going to check that I'm not dreaming and that is my brother that has come in. So I kind of stretch my hands out and I kind of tap him on the shoulder, and yes, that's my brother. You know, that's my brother next to me, he's snoring away. And then I wake up at about 7. I turn around and he's not there, which is fine. You know, maybe I didn't think anything of it. So I then go out and I said to my brother, I really don't mind. I did offer to swap places with you, so I really didn't mind that you came in this morning and, you know, wanted to crash on the bed rather than stay on the sofa. That's perfectly fine, but I'm away tonight, so you can have the bed anyway because I've booked into a hotel. And at that point, he looks at me with a really serious face and says, I don't know what's going on with you. Are you, what are you talking about? I really, and he looked at me very seriously. And at that point, I absolutely knew he was telling the truth. He didn't know what I was talking about, and what I was saying did not make sense to him. At that point, I left the room because I was just so perplexed and confused about what was going on. And I sat on my mum's bed and I was just like, I just can't make sense. I can't make sense of this. I know I'm not dreaming because each night I've sat up in the bed, I've turned on the light, I've, discussed the issue with myself, made decisions about how to respond. So I know I know that I haven't been dreaming. And then I went outside to make a cup of tea, and my brother was sitting at the dining room table, and he gives me his mobile phone on which there is a prayer. And this prayer had been that he had made, that he had said, he had recorded it and he had put music to it. So I sat there and I started, while the kettle was boiling, and I started to listen to this prayer and this music. And as I listened, tears just started to stream down my face. I just couldn't stop crying. I didn't know why I was crying. I just could not stop crying. And I wasn't bawling, the tears were just running down my face. And I didn't want my brother to see, so I kind of, slightly turned to the side and, kind of covered my face so that hoping that he wouldn't see how this prayer was affecting me. And I just, tears, they were just streaming. My night dress was just totally soaked, it was going down my neck. I just couldn't stop the tears. It was just like a tap had been turned on. So in that moment, as I was, it's so hard to explain it to anybody, what that experience was like. And in that moment, I felt like I'd been shattered. I've been explaining it to people, and the only way I can explain it is that I felt like I'd been shattered into 1,000 pieces. I felt like I'd gone somewhere, and that all that sat there was just an emptiness, a complete and total emptiness. And I'm a person who I have so much to say. I have so many opinions. I have so many viewpoints, so many questions. And in that moment, I had nothing, no language, no thoughts, no viewpoints. I just sat there empty, and an experience that I've never ever had before. Sorry. I just sat there, oh God, I just sat there totally empty, and and nothing to say. I don't know how long I sat there for, and my brother started to pray. And afterwards I said to him, as my thoughts and voice came back, the thing that came out of my mouth is, I want to listen. I just said, I want to listen. I want you to tell me about your spiritual journey. I want you to tell me about the Bible, and I want you to tell me about salvation. And it was at that point that I knew that what I needed to do was to listen. Because you see, I was a person who had decided that no Christian had anything to say to me. I was a person who had decided that there was nothing for me to listen to. So in that moment, in saying, I want to listen, I knew that that wasn't me, that something had happened to me, and that wasn't me, and that I meant it with all sincerity. So after praying and saying I wanted to listen, I said, I won't be sleeping here tonight because I'd booked the hotel. And then I said, I'll be going home, I'll be going back. So the following day, I said to my brother, I came back home from the hotel, said bye to everybody, and I says, I'll keep in touch. I know I'm open to listening now, so I'll keep in touch. And he said to me, I've been told by God to go with you, to come with you back to your hometown, to delay my business, things that I have to do. This is what my brother said, to delay what I have to do and to follow you. So I says, you coming back home with me? You're coming up the motorway and travelling back with me? And he said, yes, I'm coming with you. So there's the two of us trundling, me in my little car, and him in the work van, trundling down the motorway together. And I'll tell you, because there is more to this story, so that is the beginning. So I'll tell you what happens when my brother comes back to my hometown, and when I realised that I wanted to be baptised. So, just in conclusion, God uses people. God uses people to do his will. God moves in mysterious ways. No one is beyond the reach of God. My sister played a vital role in my salvation because she was non-judgmental. She loved me irrespective of anything that I said or I did. And my brother, he is a disciple of God, and he follows and he lives his life reading the Word of God and praying and asking for directions. And if you pray and you ask God for direction, he will direct you, and he'll direct you to do his will. But behind my brother and sister were maybe hundreds of people praying for me. And they've been praying for me for 30 years. They never ever gave up hope or belief that God could turn my situation, turn me around, where I became a believer and I moved from being an atheist to a Christian. So, did God turn up for a cup of tea? Well, yes, actually, I was making tea at the moment when he touch my life, but he turned up in a way that I didn't expect. And did God answer every question? In the moment he emptied me of questions, he answered all my questions. So if you invite God, if you give him a serious invitation, he will turn up. He will take your invitation. He's not like the blind date who says, I'm gonna come, and then he doesn't turn up. If you sincerely invite him into your life the way I did when I said to him, if you turn up and answer my questions, I will follow you. I will become a Christian. And that's exactly what he's done. And the experience that I have, the way that he has, the way that he has touched my heart and my life, nobody can take that away from me. Nobody can truly understand it. You have to have your own experience. You have to invite God to give you that experience where you have no questions and no doubts. And that's where I am today. I am a person who was an atheist. I am now a born-again Christian because God has touched me. And am I worthy? No way. Do I deserve it? No way. Yeah, so we'll go on a bit more into that later. So the next video I'll tell you about baptism.